Hello, this is Daily Recall on Friday the 13th, February 13th, 2026. Hopefully everybody's having a nice night. So, the big the main focus I guess on Canadian politics is the horrible shooting in BC at Tumbler Ridge. The so apparently some guy, they say he's a girl but he's a guy, shot up a school, killed his couple members of his own family. Uh, and yeah, it's horrible. I can't, this stuff doesn't usually happen in Canada, but it's school shootings in general. But this phenomenon with trans people and guns, bad combination. And I've been saying it for a long time before it was safe to say that it's mentally ill to push this trans ideology on young impressionable kids. You know, they need help. They need support, but not what they're doing, butchering kids and putting them on all these sorts of psychotic drugs. So I think 10 people died, including the gun man, gun whatever. Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible for the parents, for the families, and it's like they're rubbing salt in the wound because now the news people are saying in the RCMP they're calling it a woman, like a female. So they're just, it's because they know if they call it a guy, the whole charade with the trans LGBTQ thing is over for them. Like, I mean, they don't want to admit their, like, the insanity of the whole thing from the start. But like, I go to my kid's school, and every classroom has a sticker, LGBT, the trans sticker, the trans rainbow sticker, because they added the trans stripe at the end just now. So now you got to have the trans stripe, or else you're transphobic. So every classroom at the public school, elementary school, not a high school, elementary school, has this sticker, and who knows what else in the classroom. Like, I'm not going to go in the classrooms because they'll tell me not to do that. So, this is elementary school. This is Doug Ford's Ontario. Obviously, it's happening across Canada, but if there was ever a sign to abandon this total deranged satanic ideology, now's the time, because how many more kids are you gonna kill? It's horrible. Doug Ford should be ashamed of himself. All these guys, and they're still doing it. They're going to go to this memorial. They're going to lay the flowers, but the apologies don't mean anything. Doug Ford, he's had majority for comfortable majority for years. 8 years, it feels like a million, but he could have, with the stroke of a pen, took all that nonsense out of the elementary school system or the public school system. But he's a coward, and although I don't think he's a transgender booster, I think he's a coward, and he does what he's told. And the rest of the conservatives are the same. They're not. They're basically liberals in blue, just like on the federal level. So speaking of Doug Ford, he's run Ontario into the ground, flooded us with Indians, probably Africans too, and allowed this gender ideology, DEI, CRT, whatever, all of them, to flourish in Ontario under his watch. And he had a majority. He could have done some real good things in Ontario. I think if his brother wasn't on crack and he had the same majority that Doug Ford, I think we'd be living in, maybe not, but better than what Doug Ford's done. But we got stuck with the shitty brother. even on crack, Rob Ford's a better leader than Doug, whatever Doug is. Speaking of Doug, we got some poll action, and I'm not that excited. Like, it's basically it's bad polling for Doug. New Abacus poll: Ford approval 35%, disapproval 40%. Net negative for the first time in months. Voters don't turn overnight; they drift and they bolt. That's Mark Nixon. I'm sure he's not a Ford fan because he's a pure booster, but whatever. So his numbers are dropping, but I'm not that excited because what are they going to do? They're going to replace him? Like, it's natural his numbers will fall because he's been there forever. Like, 8 years is a long time. 10 years is like the max these days. And people get sick of you after a while. And I've been sick of Ford since COVID. So what they'll do is they'll replace him with someone like Carolyn Mulrooney. So they'll say, Doug, you got to resign. And then he'll resign. And they'll have a leadership. And they'll put someone like Carolyn Mulrooney, who's got the name recognition, but she's a total globalist, like totally liberal Davos type, like her father. And people will say, oh, we got a new premier, and she'll say the right things. And that's what'll happen in Ontario. So until there's like a real alternative, I know various smaller parties, but Ontario voters, we're in big trouble in Ontario because we got Toronto, which is a huge population, and then we got the rest of Ontario, which is dispersed throughout the huge province. So usually Toronto ends up deciding the elections, GTA, just like Eastern Canada usually decides the federal elections. So it's the same idea on a provincial level. And then, yeah, and basically GTA is full of new Canadians, newcomers, or I guess new Canadians, because supposedly the non-Canadians can't vote. But anyway, the new Canadians, the paper Canadians, control a lot of ridings in the GTA, so it's going to be hard to get a good party or a good party leader, because they have to appeal to all these different voting blocks, like Indians, Muslims, the Jewish vote. Like, it's I'd like to, someone to fight for the Ontario vote, none of this, all these other groups, like the Sikh vote, all that, like, screw that. But anyway, if Ford leaves, he'll be replaced with Carolyn Mulrooney or somebody like, probably her. I see her. And even if, the conservative, who's going to, what's the alternative? Liberals? They're horrible. They don't even have a leader. And then you got the NDP, which is like a disaster. Jagmeet Singh drove a stake in that whole party, and they're not to be taken seriously. So Ontario, until they get someone totally new, and Ontario first, or Ontario strong, not this nonsense that we've had for the last 8 years. Until that happens, Ontario's screwed. They keep flooding in the Indians too. We're gonna have an Indian premier in no time, the way we're going. For sure, Mayor of Toronto. Maybe not right now, but won't take long. All right, so here's another reaction to the poll. Has Doug Ford tanking in the polls in Ontario? Embracing the boomer liberal worldview, cozying up to Carney, and trashing Pierre Poilievre had him losing support from all sides. Yeah, he did definitely alienate a lot of people in his own party, and people in the other parties don't like him. I think, like I said, I think they've had their and Ford said he's going to run a fourth term, but they say that all the time. But I think they got their use out of Ford. He shoved through the COVID bullshit, commie COVID measures, some of the worst in the world, in the Western world. Like I said, he's all in on the DEI, CRT, LGBTQ, transgender, mental illness. He's all in on that. He's basically bragged about how he's filled Ontario with Indians. So it's like, worst premier ever. That's all. Tanking in the polls. But he was their useful guy. They needed a conservative to push all that through. Because if it was the Liberals, then we would have had a really conservative party rise up probably. So they had to get a conservative dude to do it. So you can say, oh, at least he's not a Liberal. It would have been worse with the Liberals. All right. So that's it for Doug Ford. We'll keep an eye on the polls. But like I said, until something really radical happens in provincial politics, it's going to be the same. Like they'll switch out Doug Ford because people are sick of him. Big deal. We need more than that. Okay. So the next file, the immigration file. My favorite file, yes. So this one's a big one. I can't believe this. This is fake refugee claimants not only clogging up the healthcare system, preventing citizens from getting timely care, they also costing Canadians $1.5 billion per year. Liberals tried to cover this up. So this is for like failed. I don't know what that means. Like maybe they get turned down and then they appeal it. So during the time that, I guess the appeal thing drags on. Like this is ridiculous. So while they're appealing, they get health care. And it's $1.5 billion a year. I don't know how that's possible. It's a lot of people. And they're probably like going getting their teeth done, everything. It works before they get shipped out. Probably won't get shipped out. So that's a big, I mean, it's unsustainable, like billions and billions and billions of dollars for people. And all it's going to do is bring more people and totally alienate the people paying the taxes. So just like putting them in the hotels, that's billions of dollars there too. It's crazy. And then they're putting them in schools. The kids, they're bringing them 10 kids with them. Putting them in schools, they don't even speak English. So there's, who knows how much money they have to spend on that stuff. So, yeah, this is $1.5 billion for this. The billions more. And it can only last so long, Eventually the money's going to stop coming, or we're not going to be able to afford it, or who knows. Well, I mean, they're going to try and tax people. Why would you want to pay taxes for this, Okay. I like this video. I'm going to show you this video. It's funny because it applies to Canada too. It's the way they come here. It's different from Greek immigrants or Italian immigrants or European immigrants who want to just like leave the whole old world behind. That's the whole reason they left the old world. But this one comedian, this guy's from UK, but UK is just ahead of us. We're in the same situation. They're just a little ahead of us. So it's a funny video. Let's watch it. Hold on.
He's got a few kids at home.
So he's pretending to go to China to immigrate, and he's going to do what he wants.
Yeah, I think we can all agree everything here is a little bit too Chinese. All the restaurants and cafes and that, for a start, way too many noodles. I don't eat noodles. We're going to need pie and mash, ham, egg and chips. I mean, you need to cater to me, yeah? No? I don't think you understand. I'm not from here, okay? I left the UK because I didn't like it, all right? So I need you to change everything to make it feel like it's the UK, yeah?
Yeah.
Still no, is it? Right, okay. Well, also, I can't really work at the minute. Anxiety, yeah. So, when do I get my money? Obviously, got a few kids at home and all, so they're going to need to come here. That's a no-brainer. Why do you keep saying no? I've noticed as well, there's a lot of Chinese people here as well, isn't it? So I was thinking we could get loads of me over here, and we have our own little area, and then you lot can just fuck off. Does that sound good? It doesn't. Well, no, hear me out. I was thinking if we get loads of me over here, then we can vote in, you know, one of me to be in charge.
Yeah.
And then we can all start telling you lot how to live. And after that, I was going to organise some marches where we go through the streets chanting anti-Chinese sentiments. So obviously you'll need to protect us while we do that. That's a no as well, is it? Oh. And finally, I am here illegally. Yeah, didn't respect the rules on that one. So do I just choose any hotel or have you got certain... Prison?
Next is the...
Okay. I think we can all agree.
That was funny. I liked it.
Is a little bit too...
It was funny, but it's true. It's like, it's our fault too. Like, I mean, if you set the, like, okay, this is what's going to happen. Like, obviously the rules would be, the proper rule would be, don't bring them in the first. Don't bring millions of people from a foreign alien culture in the first place. But let's say, if the plan is to bring them, don't cater to their every whim and need. Like, you know, they have to get with the program. But no, it's this weird desire or intention to surrender everything to people like that will just take it all. That's all. It's pretty simple. So it's so weird though, this huge desire by some Canadians to say, oh, we got to do everything or else we'll be called racist. All right, so let's go to the next video. Lots of these. Obviously we're in the winter time. Another day with more carnage on Canadian roads. Indians, trucks kill Canucks. So a lot of these are Indian drivers. A lot of the times police don't release the names. I see accidents, like there was an accident a few weeks ago here in Sarnia by the Blue Water Bridge where somebody died. No details on that. It could have been a medical thing, like whatever. And then the other day there was a collision on the bridge, near the bridge. Closed a couple lanes for a few hours. No reports on that, so who knows? There's truck crashes all the time, even around here. So I know it's winter, but I don't know. Usually like there's a lot of crashes. Another day with more carnage on Canadian roads. Fatal semi-truck collision on routes 1117 near Long Lake, Ontario. Peterbilt truck was allegedly broken down on the side of the road when a red ERB truck slammed into the back, killing the driver instantly. Holy, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. Like, I don't go on the highway a lot, but when I do, I'm like, I feel like I'm taking my life's in the balance every time I'm beside a truck now. Before I never felt like that. Now I guess you got to be aware. I don't know how you fix that. We need the robot trucks, AI robot trucks. Better than this. Better than this. And the robot trucks wouldn't mess up the washroom either. All right. Piss jugs. They don't use piss jugs, the robot truck. All right. Here's another one with trucker kind of related. Surrey, British Columbia. I'm on Deep Sing Dollywall. Those darn Sing boys. Always up to so no good. A man deep Sing Dollywall faces 20 charges following an investigation to 14 stolen semi-trailers valued at over $1 million. So they're stealing semi-trailers. They've destroyed the trucking industry, I guess, so why not steal semi-trailers? So on January the The following charges were approved by the BC. So it's 42 years old. Okay, so lots of, the tow truck too, they got tow truck wars in Toronto. I don't know if they're Indians. I don't know, Indians, tow trucks don't seem like a combination. A natural combination, but the tow truck, I mean the trucking industry is definitely very full of Indians, crashing trucks and stealing them apparently. All right. In Canada, 15, now we got the extortion. In Canada, 15 illegal immigrants were found guilty of extortion. 14 of them claimed asylum while their cases are under review, which could take years. Taxpayers still pay for their supplemental health coverage. If they refuse to leave, Canadians will keep paying. Yeah, I don't even, this is ridiculous. I always say this, in Korea, if an English teacher, because there's a lot of English teachers in Korea, and the odd one gets pinched for having a doobie, which is a big no-no in Korea. And they parade him in the news, and then they deport him like the next week. And he's never allowed into Korea ever again. For a doobie. Like, this guy shouldn't even be here. And the fact that they're gaming the system by declaring asylum, like basically abusing the asylum rules, it's ridiculous, whatever. I don't need no lawyer. I say send him back on the next plane. So, it's not complicated. It's not complicated. So yeah, you need a leader who actually, when they're prime minister, ship them on planes. But it's hard because they'd rather die. They'd rather die than go back to India. Okay. This is funny. I don't know if this is true, but I heard today the X users will soon have the option to filter their timeline by country. So basically you can block country content from certain countries, which I guess the Indians and other third world scam artists are freaking out because it's just X, but it could be so popular that like Facebook and all the other, could do it. And I like it because, it's not like X is doing the choice of blocking, it's you who gets the choice. So this guy's like, the only countries I will be allowing. That's funny. Yeah, I'll have my block button on, man. We could have a block for immigration too. The same idea, block. Just press the block button. It's really that simple, isn't it? But I don't know if that's I think it's true, because usually when X adds a feature, this is how it comes out, like in reports, and then it ends up going live. Like the country, they did the country of origin feature where you can see where the account is based. And that kind of news came out the same way. So it sounds legit. I hope it is. Because a lot of Indians do mass reporting, and I don't know how that works, but they do a lot of spamming and attacking accounts. So if we can block them, great. A lot of bots too. All right, here's more highways of death in Canada. It's horrible. And I'm not making light of it either. It's horrible, horrible. It's horrible. But highway of death is exactly the description. You can't sugarcoat this stuff, Highways of death. Another dead Canadian on Highway 11. 2 more airlifted to hospital. Crash between 2 transports and utility vehicle. I don't know if this is the same one we looked at. Every week, Indian trucks kill Canucks. It's horrible. We saw that. I'm going to show you this one. Here's Milton. Milton, a single vehicle flips over on 401 near Milton. How does that happen? There's the driver coming out of there. guess he's, I know, I think he's in India. Hold on, let's see. Where is it? Okay, come on. Look at this guy climbing out of this wrecked car there. Third world country we live in here. Anyway, Milton's filling up with Indians. It's like they saw Milton and they said, we're going to take this over. Because Milton is a growing community right outside Toronto, so of course they're going to say, Milton will be the new Brampton. They need a rival to Brampton, like Delhi and Calcutta. We need Brampton and Milton. All right, this is in Cochrane, Ontario, some kind of remigration protest. The tiki torches and everything, and of course the Antifa, the news media, they're gonna go field day on this if they even give it any coverage. Where the hell is Cochrane anyway? I should know where Cochrane is. Cochrane. I know, I've heard of it. This is not really, you don't really see this much in Canada, so I thought it was pretty interesting. Cochrane. It is. Oh, it's out. It's, holy shit, it's up in, by Timmins. Past Timmins. Is that it? I guess that's where it is. Past Timmins. So what they have them up there too? Would they take over Cochrane? Let's see what they're saying here. So, get them out. Deportations. This is crazy. During the Cochrane Winter Festival, so at Cochrane, way the hell up in Ontario there. During the Cochrane Winter Festival, or Winter Carnival in Ontario, celebrating local culture, the locals started marching with torches and chanting, "Get them out," and deportation, spreading fear among immigrants across the city. Says Alex Woods. I'm assuming he lives in Cochrane, maybe. I didn't know Cochrane was that far. All right. I'm sure that won't make the news either. Okay. It won't make the news, but that's kind of a crazy image. It's kind of, a lot of people feel the same way probably, and the government's lying. Like, there's millions here that I don't even think they know about, and they're letting more in all the time, and they're paying for it. So it's not, it's not surprising that you see this happening. They're going to call it all sorts of things. They're going to call it like a Nazi rally, some kind of Aryan march, or whatever the one in the U.S., the tiki torches in the U.S. when Trump called them fine people or something. But whatever. People should be allowed to voice their concerns. And if they're up there in Cochrane, up in the middle of nowhere, like if they're, how many, let's see this. Let's say how many immigrants I bet Cochrane is. I bet the mayor there signed up for the old migration money to bring in. Like they took money to bring in new arrivals. You know, they have this rural resettlement program. Let's see, I didn't think there'd be many up in Cochrane. What the hell are they doing up there? How many immigrants are in Cochrane, Ontario? You know what's bad when they're taking over Cochrane and Timmins, Ontario. Literally. Holy grok, you're slow. It's not a hard question, I don't think. I just roughly how many? All right, here we go. Town of Cochrane, Ontario had a total population of 5,390. Of these residents, 90 people were immigrants. Okay. Additionally, approximately 5,190 came aboard with a small number of non-permanent. So I don't understand what's going on here. Okay. This refers specifically to the town of Cochrane, not the larger Cochrane district, which has a higher immigrant population, around 2,255, or 2.9 of the 78,000 residents. So that's 2021. Okay. So yeah, they're bringing them up there. Interesting. I mean, Cochrane, if it's going to happen, anti-immigrant torch marches, if it's going to happen, that's the place for it to happen, because it's they kind of do their thing up there. They don't care. They don't care what the city folk think. All right. I'm going to end it on this one. I don't know if we talked about it the other day. I'm not sure. But so this is the guy, he got yeah, I think we talked about he was an Indian trucker. We're talking about truckers. And he killed an Olympian woman, a woman who was an Olympic athlete, there she is, and injured her son. So like she probably would have had more kids, but now that's not going to happen. And look at this guy. He was probably texting or something. He ran right into her.
Including a Cadillac driven by Alexandra Paul, who had her 10-month-old son in the back seat at the time of the pileup. Paul's vehicle, the court heard, was hit so hard it was sent crashing into a ditch, killing her. Paul's little boy suffered a broken leg. Sadu was charged by police with dangerous driving causing death and 4 counts of dangerous driving causing bodily harm following the crash along County Road 124. Sadu, who is from Angus, also pleaded guilty to 1 count of dangerous driving causing bodily harm to Paul's son and 3 men in other vehicles that day.
That's crazy.
Police said were taken to hospital with serious, life-altering injuries. According to investigators, Sadu entered the construction zone north of Shelburne at about 3 in the afternoon, August 22nd, 2023, traveling nearly double the posted 60-kilometer-per-hour reduced speed limit before slamming into a lineup of 6 vehicles.
So I don't know if he's Canadian, like a paper Canadian, or if he's like or if he's on PR. But like, this is what we're bringing in. Come on. Guy was probably on his phone texting. And now this woman's dead. Her family's destroyed. And I got him a screenshot of him here smiling. Look at him. Who does that at your court? Where you're pleading guilty to killing poor woman for your, your shitty driving. At least it's like no remorse from these people. So this photo got almost 8,000 views. But that's what we're dealing with here. It's not racist. It's just facts. Facts. So yeah. That's it for today, I guess. So good for the people of Cochrane. I'd like to see if anything comes out of that, like any reaction. They'll probably just try to bury it, but you can't bury it, man. You can't bury it. Okay. That's it. We'll see. We'll see what happens tomorrow, February 14th. Look, they're even in the Yukon here. Holy shit. Even in the Yukon. They're too cold though. They won't go up. Only one of them will go to the Yukon. So, tomorrow, Valentine's Day. Ooh. We had Friday the 13th. Now it's Valentine's Day. So, that's the next broadcast. Until then, have a nice night.